Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Dana B. from Mountain Patriots Educational Ministries, and I'm here with my good friend and co-chair, Charlie Markert. And we have the pleasure today of getting the opportunity to interview a friend of ours, Amanda Chase, who is running for governor this year. And we're really impressed with her. But before we get started, we wanted to tell you a little bit about Mountain Patriots and how we fit in here. We just want to let you all know we started this. First off, this is our third podcast, so bear with us if we mess up. We started Mountain Patriots Educational Ministries about 3 years ago, and we are a Christian based conservative cadre of citizens that we love our God, we love country, we love life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And we're working on everything from a local level, and then we're also working on things from the state level. We do have 7 different ministries, and we meet every week. So we cover things on the spiritual front, the educational front, what we can do for the communities. We work on civil defense, preparedness in our community, as well as elections. And we do have some pretty big events like our conference that's coming up on June 28th, which will give the opportunity of some of our elected officials to explain what their actual job is, because most people vote without even know what that particular job entails, which is part of the reason we're really happy to have Amanda here today to talk with us. And we're going to have an opportunity to have people learn about what their elected officials do and find out how also that we can help them, because it's not an I, it's a we the people. So if people have ever wondered why they elected a certain official, they'll get the opportunity to know what they actually do. And we'll be doing, it's kind of like a civics 101, and we'll tell you a little bit more about our Wake Up Winchester Health and Freedom Conference that's going to be held at 251 Costello Drive behind the Millwood Fire Station, and that'll be on June 28th. So before we get started, we are a Christian ministry, and I asked Charlie, we have a Mountain Patriots prayer that we do before we get started on anything, and I'm going to turn it over and let Charlie introduce himself as well. Charlie?
Okay, let's get started with the prayer.
Thank you, Charlie.
Dear Lord, thank you for this beautiful world and this country that you have given us and the patriots who are willing to care for it. We thank you for inspiring our founders to create this beautiful republic, and please help us to keep it as the aspiring place to be. Please give us the wisdom to do the right things, the common sense to judge wisely, and the energy to never give up, and your unending grace in which we take comfort. Jesus, in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right, I'm gonna.
I got started in this with Dana. I was at the Shenandoah Christian Alliance. We meet every week for a prayer meeting, prayer morning, and he came with I think it was Pastor Jack, or maybe it was 1607 folks. But they told me what he was doing, and that's what I was just looking for, is a chance to get into being better prepared, a chance to get the issues of the day out to the public, and find a group of friends, like-minded people, um, and this filled the bill. So here we are. Um, Amanda, we're really pleased that you're willing to come on and talk with us and tell us what you're all about. Um, my first question is, what led you to commit this time and effort and energy into becoming the governor of Virginia?
Well, listen, first of all, thank you all for having me on,
You're quite welcome.
providing the opportunity to address the folks. I'm sitting here in my car in Frederick County, looking forward to addressing the Frederick County GOP this evening. To answer your question, it is a calling to run. Nobody runs for office because they want to. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of sacrifice of time, energy, talents, finances, all of that. And so you really have to count the cost before you do anything. I ran for governor back in 2020. I announced on President's Day back in 2020. I ran for 15 months to run for governor because I felt like the people needed hope. That I was actually the front runner up until the Republican Party called for a ranked choice convention. I don't think it was any coincidence that instead of having a primary, that it was a ranked choice convention.
Right.
It was designed specifically to make sure that, because they knew that I would win the Republican primary, it was designed to for the party to control who could participate in the vote. And so Glenn Youngkin won the nomination. At the same time, my Facebook page was deleted off of Facebook, so nobody knew me.
Doesn't surprise us.
So I basically announced 2.5 weeks ago that I was going to finish the race that I began in 2021. A lot of people know me. They've come to trust me. They know that I speak truth to power, and I'm not afraid to do so. When I went back to the state Senate, one of the things I did, I was the key determining vote in making sure that we got a primary this time. I was the deciding vote to make sure that the power went to the people to choose their Republican nominee for governor. It wouldn't be done by a select handful of people that happen to figure out how to vote. Voting shouldn't be that difficult. It's basically protects our constitutional republic, giving the people the chance to vote and have a say and who their Republican nominee is going to be. And, a lot of the country club Republicans don't want grassroots patriots like ourselves to participate in that process. They've done everything they could to make that process difficult. In fact, they're actually introducing a lawsuit to fight my deciding vote to make sure that the people get to participate in this process. So
amazing, isn't it?
It is amazing. So it's a calling. One that I answered. I did get a phone call from the White House. I believe full-heartedly that I will get President Trump's endorsement should I get those signatures. That's the most important thing. We're doing 6 months worth of work in less than 30 days. And I'm not hiring any staff. I'm not focused on fundraising right now. We're focused on getting signatures right now. And a lot of people know me over the past 8 years. I served in the Virginia Senate for 8 years. I know the cost of serving, and I've accepted that. People trust me because nobody goes through the persecution that I go through because it gains them nothing. I endured an illegal censure because I refused to wear a mask. I was there on January 6th. I said the election was stolen because I know that it was. The presidential election of 2020 and with President Donald J. Trump endured an illegal censure. That didn't benefit or help me at all. That I did it because
I guess not.
The right.
It may now.
Yeah, well,
because we know
everything that happened to President Trump, it seemed to happen to me, and I've endured a censure, an illegal censure. I've had my committee assignments taken from me, put in the corner. That's when I ran for governor last time. So, I'm doing this. I got so many people who are supporting President Trump who said we cannot support Winsome Sears. She has made comments against our president that she's not going to get our vote. And you have to have everybody's support in the Republican side plus to win. And without the Trump vote, Winsome Sears will not win this election. So I've thrown my hat in the ring. I have told the people, if you want me to run, you've got to help me get the signatures. So we've got to.
How close are you with the signatures?
We're about halfway there, which is pretty good for 2.5 weeks.
Yes, it is.
So we've got the momentum on our side, but
that's pretty good, Amanda.
We've got to turn these signatures in next Thursday. So we just really need all hands on deck. We're going to focus on policy and all that. I mean, people know where I stand on the issues. I've served in the Virginia Senate 8 years. I was the lead on election integrity, paper and counts. I would issue an executive order day one to get rid of the voting computers. That's where they're cheating us. They are to the internet. I can see what page it is in the manual, which talks about connecting your voting computer to the modem. So all these people who say it's not connected to the internet, either are naive or
Right.
at best. So we need to restore confidence in our elections. We need to go back to paper ballots, hand counts,
Agree.
voting, go back to an election day instead of an election season. So
Amanda, can you tell us a little bit about your life before politics?
hard to
Just
my life before politics, because I got involved in 2008. Corporate America, working in banking and finance. I worked for First North American National Bank, Circuit Cities Bank in management. I worked for Signet Bank Card, which is now Capital One in management.
I remember that.
Then I homeschooled. I came home from the Federal Reserve Bank. That was my last real job, I guess, in management there, managing the checks department. Had 4 kids, homeschooled them, plan to continue to have kids, to basically grow an army of patriots. And the Lord called me to run for the state Senate. It was unheard of. Nobody knew. I was not involved in politics at the time other than voting and taking my young kids to vote. And I won that state Senate race, and I served for 8 full years. My last race, I believe that I won that race, but through nefarious actions, the vote was stolen, and mail-in ballots, early voting ballots, which is where they're stealing our elections. So I have done something called the Honey Badger Report, where
The Honey Badger Report.
during session, I still watch the General Assembly, specifically the Senate, and I let folks know on a daily basis basically what their General Assembly is doing, and who they need to contact and which bills they need to watch. So I've done that the last 2 years, but my background is business and finance.
good. Thank you. I appreciate that. We were wondering what your prime directive is that drives you. Are you a MAGA person?
And what are your hot buttons with that? I know you're a MAGA
Yeah.
person through and through. And what are the hot buttons with these prime directives that you have right now that you're looking to get through?
Well, number one, yes. In fact, when I ran for governor last time, I was called Trump in heels. This go around, I'm Trump in tennies because I'm wearing tennis shoes, having a Walmart.
You got a race to run.
It's hard to do that in heels. But anyway, the thing that drives me is saving our country. Thank God President Trump has saved our country, and we're in the process of restoring our great country. But Virginia,
finally have a platform to be able to push. He gave us that much.
We need to do what President Trump is doing at the national level, at the state level. And listen, that is a major overhaul to our state government. I mean, having served in the Virginia Senate for 8 years, I can tell you we need a Virginia Doge right here. We have thousands of dollars set aside in something called Go Virginia. It's a complete slush fund for corporate interest. It's a sludge fund for corporate welfare. We need to get rid of that. Where's all this money that we approved, the General Assembly approved for COVID? Where did it go? What about for the schools? Why is more of that money not going into the classrooms? We've been talking about school choice for decades. I mean, me as a former homeschool mom, we chose to homeschool our kids. All 4 of my kids are now grown, and we still don't have school choice in Virginia. It's shut down by the VEA and other organizations. Hey, let's try it by using an executive order. Y'all, it's time to get things done. I'm tired of Republicans getting elected and doing nothing, or doing so little that you can't even tell something's happening. You know, you're going to upset people. I'm not looking to be a popular governor. I'm looking to be the most effective governor for freedom and for individual rights. You know, my family, my boys have a small business. They're landscapers. I understand firsthand the obstruction that you have, the challenges that you have with owning a business. You know, more
Absolutely.
with
Anybody that's owned a business is like that. And I didn't mean to cut you off, but you're right there with this. And when you said the Department of Education, only about 20-25% of the money that's been brought into the Department of Education is even being used. Where is the rest of
Right.
the money?
Right.
So
And why do we keep building Taj Mahal colleges? I mean,
correct. Or high schools.
Well, high schools.
why is that money not going to the students? It's going to the administration, going to buildings. I support 100% school choice vouchers. I introduced legislation called educational savings accounts while I served in the Senate. Give the parent a voucher. If they want to have a private Christian education, let them. That's our taxpayer money. And if right now we have the religion of secular humanism being taught in our public schools. So there is a religion being taught in our public schools.
Oh, there is
That's
definitely
not
a religion.
Most people want. And so let's give the people a choice. I think if you allowed the average family to choose where they wanted to send their kids and where that state funded portion and their federal funded portion would go, we would see more private Christian schools pop up all over the state of Virginia, and I agree with you. We need God in our schools. That's why we have so much mental illness. We have kids that are trying to cut off body parts because our impressionable kids who come from conservative families where, the families are doing the best they can to have a private Christian or a Christian education with Judeo-Christian values that our country were founded on. Those conservative values are being undermined in our public schools.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
And Republicans are not doing enough to reverse that. Governor Youngkin could be doing more. There's really not a lot of difference between Republican governors and Democrat governors when it comes to education.
No.
And it needs to change. And I'm the one that has the guts to do it.
Especially with stuff being shoveled down from the federal level. If we get the Department of Education shuttered, all that responsibility and accountability comes down to the state. So
that's where we need to be.
To improve how the state operates and how they spend that money.
We need to have the money come back to the states. But if the money, and that's with anything, if the money comes back to the states, then that means that we have to have the right infrastructure with our political leaders to be able to do the right thing with that money. Okay. Because right now we're in a situation
or pass on it and not take the money. If
we're in that position, as you know. I mean, okay, if you want this amount of money, you have to follow these curriculums. And that's not what we want. I mean, I don't need my kid eating out of a litter box or my grandkids eating out of a litter box or having the men and women's sports or what have you. We have to follow. If you want this, it's a carrot and a stick. If you want this, okay, then you have to follow these rules. And I am so for having the money follow the child. Go ahead, Mandy, because you were right on with that.
Well, let's just as person.
I'm very pleased in the position you just described.
Absolutely. Agree.
What's your thoughts on it?
First of all, personnel's policy. We need to get the right people in office, as we've seen with President Trump. Day one, he executive order saying, executive order, there's two genders, male and female. I would do the same thing. All of this other is mental illness. That's what it is.
Absolutely.
Complete mental illness. We need to be the adults in the room. We need to be the parents. We need to be stop the indoctrination. And I would follow that with this. If they continue to do that, despite executive orders that I would issue, they'll lose their money.
I agree.
If we'll have a hotline where parents can call and say this, by the way, did you know that we have no textbooks in the state of Virginia?
I can believe that. Yeah.
Chromebooks. So how are parents supposed to know what kids are learning when
they don't know what kids are learning? We learned a lot of that back in COVID, where, well, first off, half of the parents aren't home because they have to work two jobs in order to be able to support something. Last night at our meeting, and this might interest you, we have a first grade teacher and she has a walkie-talkie. Okay, this is crazy. And a kid goes ballistic inside of in and they have to say, I've got to basically clean up on aisle 1 here in my classroom. And then you call the parents and, oh, they didn't get enough sleep. Oh, they didn't get this last night. So you got people that are pampering the kids to not, there's no a lot of these places have no discipline at home. And then it ends up in the classroom. And then you've got teachers that have to be even stronger because they only be able to carry so much weight in the schools on the disciplinary actions that they can take against children. It's
Well,
Okay,
there's
let's move on.
Yeah, we're happy to move on. Just real quick, when my kids were in public school, which was a short period of time, my kids were told that they could not have a water bottle in class and that they could only use the bathroom during certain, you know, it's crazy how much the schools have become
Right.
authoritarian in nature. They are not teaching kids to think critically. They're teaching to SOLs. They're not teaching our kids to think critically.
right.
It's all about indoctrination. We've gotten away from reading, writing, arithmetic, true science, true history. We need to get back to where we were 50 years ago, where my grandfather was able to, they use the Bible as part of their curriculum.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Kids that they report to a higher cause. There is no education without God. I mean, the beginning of education is the fear of the Lord. And we've
Amen.
so gotten away from that. And with choice and the parents choosing where their vouchers will go, we're going to see a return to a religious based education. I feel very confident with that. And we're going to put it into secular humanism, and we're going to do it.
I like that answer. Let's switch gears here a little bit, Charlie. We are, our group is very concerned about being able to protect ourselves. We have illegal immigration. We have so many things that are going on. We have loony people right now that are actually out there not only lighting Teslas on fire, okay, but going in, which is even crazier to me, going and buying a Tesla so that they can light it on fire. Okay, we watched that happen with Dylan Mulvaney when Kid Rock decided to buy all the Bud Light and shoot all the Bud Light, and they're trying to compare those two. Well, Kid Rock bought the Bud Light. Okay, we didn't go out there and shoot somebody else's Bud Light. Okay,
Right.
but where do you stand when it comes? I know what's going on a little bit with Miaris, with the rest stops, the ABC stores. We don't really know where he stands literally on where the gun-free zone's on. What are your thoughts on our Second Amendment here in Virginia?
Well, those folks who have been following me for years know that I have a 100% rating with BCDL.
Mm-hmm.
8 years. I served in the Virginia Senate. I have an A rating with the NRA, plus I carry for personal protection. Um,
Love it.
it is very important. Many people have who attended the largest VCDL rally in Virginia's history know I was a speaker there. And VCDL has endorsed me numerous times for state senate. They don't like to get involved with primaries, but they did with my last state senate race because they feel that strongly about my stance on the Second Amendment. It's one of my top issues. I would use an executive order to take us back to the Constitution, reversing
Excellent.
red flag laws, reversing gun-free zones. See, I know because I served in the Senate. I know the bills that passed with the gun grab in 2020 when the Democrats had the Democrat trifecta. I know which bills need to be repealed. I would do that through executive order until we had the majority in the House and the Senate and could reverse that through the law. But they overstepped their bounds. The Democrat controlled legislature with Governor Northam
Right.
overstepped their grounds and they passed legislation that is unconstitutional. It all has to be reverted back. We should be able to carry our firearms at the Capitol.
I
Cannot.
agree. I agree.
So, I believe an armed society is a polite society. Most of us don't have the money to pay for private security, nor would we want to. We prefer to protect ourselves. And, I've introduced legislation to reverse the fees. You shouldn't have to have a fee or tax to exercise your Second Amendment right. That should be illegal. Especially folks who are for all people, but in particular, those folks who live in low income areas. There's
Low income areas.
crime areas, those are the folks of anybody who need to be able to protect themselves. And yet they're going to have to, they can't afford the fees just to carry. I mean, we know how expensive guns are just in general, and the ammunition is through the roof.
Absolutely.
Why do we need to make that more difficult for people? We shouldn't.
It's all
Thank you.
designed to
Thank
do
you for
that.
that. Yeah. Let me ask a
Great
question,
answer.
a really tough question to deal. How do you deal with the abortion issue?
Well, I think every woman has a right to do whatever they want with their body. It's their body until they get pregnant, until fertilization. And then that baby has a constitutional right to be protected. And I believe the Constitution applies to the unborn
I
and
agree.
protect the constitutional rights of the unborn. Hard stop.
It is a human.
It's a human.
Yeah.
If you go to my website, chaseforgovernor.com, you can see how I have 100% rating all 8 years with the Family Foundation. So I'm 100% conservative all the way down on all the social issues. I have spoken in favor of life. I actually did a CNN interview, which is on my website, chaseforgovernor.com. I'm not afraid to interview with CNN right after SCOTUS passed the bill to send the Roe versus Wade to send those
Back to the states. Back to the
states.
states. Right.
I was afraid to tackle that issue. I did an interview with CNN, and I said, look, this is an issue that bring it to the states. And by the way, when you send it back to the states, you have a vote for life with me. I have always for life 100% from conception. There are no exceptions that I would want to kill a baby. There's just none. We don't kill babies. We allow God through natural selection process where he'll choose who gets to live and who doesn't. That's not our right. We don't kill babies. We don't kill our own. That's humankind should not do that to their own.
You know, I agree with you. If it wasn't for, I was born in the early 60s, and if it wasn't for two parents that put me up for adoption, we would not be having this conversation. And there are so many people out there right now that want children. They want children. So, I mean, there's all kinds of ways to work through this. And a lot of this has to be taught again in indoctrination back in the schools on abstinence and biblical principles and so forth. Charlie, you have anything to add to that?
No, I agree 100% with that.
I knew you would.
I got another question. Um, where do you stand on car tax? We've been told several times, oh, we're going to get rid of it, and they never do.
Yeah, I am very familiar with that. Governor Gilmore, that was his idea that he won the governorship on was no car tax. I don't like taxes, period. Hard stop. I mean, we need to cut our spending on non-essential functions of government so that we can cut the car tax. You know, what you hear from the localities and the Democrat Party, quite honestly, they say, well, where are you going to replace the funding? I said, well, cut. The problem is that we continue. If you look at the state budget beginning in 2010, we have doubled the amount, our entire budget. It has doubled since 2010. Where are the cuts? Well, there aren't really any cuts. And if they say there's a cut, it's not really a cut. It's a cut from the budget they proposed.
Cut from the increase.
So that's the problem right there that, you know, and by the way, if you going back to the school choice issue, we're going to have all these schools that are going to be open. Maybe they'll be filled with co-ops. Maybe the public schools buildings will be filled with private Christian schools instead of what we see at this day. But I believe that you'll see more education taking place in churches, that type of thing instead of school buildings. So maybe we sell off some of the properties that aren't being used anymore. Get rid of the ABC. Why is the government in the booze business? I mean, that's socialism.
Right.
I mean, we shouldn't. There are a lot of things that the government is doing that we should not be doing, and we would save a whole lot of money that we could pass on to the taxpayer in general. But you know, I don't like. I currently I don't think that we should be taxing people's Social Security. We've got folks.
I agree.
who are on fixed incomes. Why are we taxing their Social Security? That makes no sense to me. Why do we have the property tax? I mean, why are we taxing people on property that they already own? I mean, currently,
every year.
my situation, we live on fixed income, and our house is paid for, our cars are paid for.
Unless you don't pay that tax.
Our biggest expenditure are taxes.
Right.
That's the biggest expenditure that we have because we don't spend a lot of money. So why am I still having to pay these fees and taxes when I'm really not even spending a lot of money? It's crazy the way our system is. So we need to get away from that. We should, I'm looking at the fair tax model. There's strengths and weaknesses to that as well. But we as Virginians and Americans, we are taxed, double taxed, triple taxed,
Absolutely.
quadruple taxed. Nobody can survive that.
We can't even afford the thumb tax.
Yeah.
But that leads me into something that we've been watching. I mean, we go very, very far down the rabbit hole, and we're very impressed with what President Trump's right now doing, especially with Elon with Doge. And I don't care what people think about Doge. Oh, my information's out there. Your information is out there all the time. It always has been. It always will be, and you can't get away from it. So get over it. Okay. But now we've got tariffs that are coming in here. And if you logically sit down, and some people disagree with me, but if you logically sit down and you can bring people back into the United States, number one, it creates jobs. Okay. You've got more spending because you've got those jobs. And then the tariffs should suck up a lot of those taxes that we have right now. I can't, and I'll use this example as well. If I started at age 25 and had, I'm as a business owner, FICA, matching FICA, Social Security, Medicare, that gets paid by the employer, gets paid by myself as the employee. All of that money goes into a big funnel, which we know for the most part they probably already spent it. But if I put that amount of money aside till the time I'm 67, I could have about and put it into an account at 5%, I would end up with about $2 million by the time I retire at age 67. Instead, I get taxed on the $2 or $3 or $3,500 that I get after we've worked our tails to the bone, and we have 10 years left or 15 years left. They're supposed to be our golden years. That's what we worked for to make sure that we got here. We put our kids through school. We tried to do the best we can. And the only thing that happens is the taxes suck up everything. So what are your thoughts on, number one, tariffs? And then and I do think we're going to see an elimination of the IRS. I really do. And you said that you worked with the Federal Reserve. Is that correct?
I was in the check processing department.
There you go. But that's the central bank. And this is the third central bank that we've had in this country, which isn't, our Federal Reserve doesn't even belong to the United States of America. Has nothing to do with us. So if we can eliminate the Fed and the central bank and the elimination of the IRS, and we're using the External Revenue Service, which is the tariffs, what is your take on that here as far as we can try to help build Virginia and expand this out to some of the other states and be an example or a model?
Well, I think what President Trump was trying to correct was the inequities, the disparities in which the U.S. was given. We accepted bad deals, and President Trump is about good deals. Is this good for America? And we have so many countries that were taking advantage of us. They were putting the tariffs on us, and we were accepting the bad deal. And President Trump simply said, no more bad deals for America. If you tax us, if you put tariffs on us, we're going to put tariffs on you.
Amen.
That's called, that's equity. That's true equity. That's fair. So he's dishing out what they're doing to us. And as a result, as we've seen, and I'm preaching to the choir here, a lot of our manufacturing left America, went to other places where, they didn't have to face the high tariffs. They could, so the tariffs are designed to keep jobs here, to bring manufacturing back to the United States. And I think that is pretty much what we're going to have to do to incentivize businesses to make their products in the United States. And, I would say this, first of all, um, the income tax is an internal tariff, right?
Right. It is.
And we're taxed enough already. The state's rainy day fund needs to be parked in T-bills. We're not getting a lot of interest on that. States need to make lawful gold and silver. Right now there's a transaction fee involved
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to gold and silver, which is basically currency, or those transactions are being taxed. So we need to eliminate that as well. We have to focus on Virginia first, and we need to make sure that we create an environment of less taxes, less regulation, less
Mm-hmm.
bureaucracy. Remember back whenever Barack Obama took office, many business owners struggled to keep up with all of the regulations that were propagated.
I was in the middle of all of the ACA, the FMLA, ERISA, COBRA, HIPAA, and all of the laws. Our heads exploded on March 23rd of 2010 when that law went through. And what was it? It's only 2,000 pages. Sign it now and we can read it later. And my entire world work wise completely changed. And it was mind blowing.
We have a landscaping business. My boys do. It's $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
You have to focus. You really have to think twice before you hire more employees, because you're going to be mandated to pay insurance and all the additional taxes that go along with that just to expand your company. It wasn't always that way. In fact, you didn't have all these encumbrances as a business owner with the taxes, the fees,
The DEI.
all of it, which I would get rid of. I'd get rid of DEI. That's dead on arrival. I mean, that's, there are so many hoops that business owners have to jump through just not to not be sued anymore. And we need to eliminate those encumbrances. And there's too many to even repeat here. But we need to get back to the basics, and we need to allow business owners to make money, and their focus needs to be on making money instead of following rules and regulations. Common.
We had a saying back then that it became, when I was working with, I worked with big unions. I've worked with companies that had 5, 10, 15,000 people, all the way down to the small mom and pop. And even the small mom and pops with the 20 or 30, the average company in its size in the United States, small business, is 8.5 employees. And they would say, oh my gosh, the inmates are running the asylum. And that's how we really looked at it out there, talking with accountants and brokers and financial planners. They're like, Dana, how do you fix this? And my job was to go and have them spend money to protect themselves from the inmates.
Well, a perfect example of that, and one of the biggest frustrations I hear from business owners is, if they're trying to open a thriving business, or they have an idea, right, go to before the board of supervisors, or the
Mm-hmm.
municipality they have, city council, and trying to get the zoning approved just to open their business. And then if it gets deferred, their case gets deferred. I mean, if you've got capital tied up and you've borrowed money to start this business, and localities continue to defer their case, that time value of money, it can take some businesses over a year just to get approved, and yet they're having to pay on that for that business,
and they're paying on that money while they're trying to get in.
They're not able to get a return on their investment because they're being held up by bureaucrats who aren't entrepreneurs. They don't understand the time value of money. They don't understand the cost of money. They don't care the cost of goods sold. They don't understand anything other than the government gives them their paycheck every month and that they get off work at 5:00. I mean, those of us who are entrepreneurs understand sweat equity. We know how to work our business. We understand what it takes. A lot of us who are small business owners don't even earn a salary until we paid all of our employees. We make sure they're paid and taken care of first. A lot of the private sector bureaucrats, they don't understand the time value of money. They don't understand how expensive money is, and that how every time they delay their case before the board of supervisors, before their locality, how expensive that is to the investor, to the small business owner.
A lot of that's done on purpose. I mean, there's no question about it. Depending on where you live, there's no question about how long it takes. Charlie and I were working on our ministry here, and we know what it took for us to get this going because of a couple words that we use, you know. So we get that. But you brought up something also about the goods and services being outside the United States, and it's going to be a lot. We're going to go through a little hump where things are going to cost a little bit more. I don't think we're going to see it as big, but it'll force people to to buy American again, which is what we always try to do. But if you're sending things outside of the country, then you've got literally, we're slaves here, but you've got slave labor. And then you've got the trafficking, you've got all of the kids, all of this ties together, you know. And I think a lot of that trafficking or slave labor or utilizing young kids like they do, a lot of that stuff can be cut back as well. And that is a big deal. A lot of people don't realize, and I just brought up trafficking for a reason. A lot of the trafficking right here is in the United States. We're the almost the fourth largest state in the country for trafficking. So something has definitely got to be done. So how are you looking at law enforcement here when you get into immigration or trafficking or things like that here in Virginia in your term if you're governor?
Well, the first thing we need to do is that teachers and school systems need to be able to find out if the kids that are coming to their schools are here legally. Are their parents here legally?
Absolutely.
Currently, we can't ask that. So we're spending millions, if not billions of dollars of our taxpayer money that we pay into on folks that are not here legally. They're using resources that they're not paying into. So we need to activate ICE on those who are here illegally. We need to create a bit, and this is our federal system has been broken. Our immigration system has been broken, but we've had an invasion at the border. We've had the prior administration welcome people who are here who are not following our laws, who are coming
On purpose. On purpose.
illegally. The people who are most upset about this are the people who've come here legally, legal citizens that come to America that have spent the money. They've gone through the process to do it the right way. They're the ones who are the most ticked off at the prior administration because they went the proper channels. They came here legally. It's
They follow the law.
that are using the resources in our schools intended for our kids. It's not there because it's being used by people who are not here legally. So we need to be able to ask if these kids are here legally. Number one, to send a message that we mean business and that you need to come here legally. We're all for immigration. We want people to come to this country legally, but they've got to come here following the law. So that's the big, we need to punish the lawbreakers. A lot of the criminal activity that we have seen through human trafficking, child trafficking, all that, I would tell you is coming straight from the Democrat Party. Those people who watch Alex Jones show and another show know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
The Democrat Party is the party of child trafficking. They've allowed this to happen. They promoted it. They want it here, and it's here because they did nothing to stop it. And we need to allow our law enforcement to hold the criminals accountable. We need to allow them to do their job. We need to protect their qualified immunity. We need to have their back. When it comes to our law enforcement, the administration has to send a message that we support law enforcement to do their job.
100%.
And ICE. I mean, a lot of sheriffs, and I know in Chesterfield County we have a sheriff there. Chesterfield County is now technically called a sanctuary city because when he became the sheriff of Chesterfield County, The county attorney told him, you cannot hold people that you apprehend, you cannot hold them or you're going to be sued. Well, they're not here legally anyway. In my opinion, they should have no rights. Call ICE, deport them, get them to come here legally if they want to come here. But you're not
Mm-hmm.
to our country illegally, use our resources and stick us with the bill. That doesn't work. That's not America first. That's America last. And people who come here need to come here legally.
Amen to that. Charlie, you had a question. You're on mute, Charlie.
A loud car went by, so I went on mute. I have since you mentioned law and immigration, um, I'm wondering how much you understand and are concerned about Sharia law and Islamic Jihad and what has come over the border and what we need to pay attention to in that part of the world, which is now here because of coming across the border.
Right.
Exactly. We have sleeper cells, which are all across the country, including here in Virginia, just waiting for the right moment. That's why it's so important that we make ourselves aware of exactly what Sharia law is.
Mm-hmm.
Understand is a totally different worldview, a completely different mindset. I've educated myself on that. I understand what that means. We need to reject Sharia law here in the Commonwealth,
Absolutely.
and we need
Amen.
to expose people who run for elected office who support Sharia law in our finances. It's a complete effort to undermine the United States of America, and I completely reject anything that would do that. Any worldview that would undermine our freedom, our Constitution, and the way our founding fathers set up our country to work.
Is there
Perfect.
anything else that we haven't asked, brought up that you want to make a point with?
First of all, the main thing is I'm running for governor because I know I can beat Abigail Spanberger. That's the number one issue. Battle of the blondes, but I'm going to be the one that has the brains.
I love it.
In order to do that, I've got to get the signatures. Next Thursday, April 3rd, is my deadline to turn in signatures. I announced 2.5 weeks ago that I was going to run because I had so many people reaching out to me, MAGA folks who knew that I ran last time, and y'all called me Trump in heels. And they said, look what President Trump is doing. We believe that you can win Virginia. We've got your back. We're going to collect signatures to get your name on the ballot. We've got about 5,000 of the 10,000 that we need, and we've only got a week left. So that's a hairy, audacious goal, right? What do they call that?
Big, hairy, audacious goal. Yeah.
That's
BHAG.
Yep. That was good. That was good.
But we can do it.
Yeah.
But it takes people working hard to make that happen. I have been working whenever I saw people taking vacation time off. I had a gentleman out in Southwest Virginia, took a week of vacation to go door knocking in Southwest Virginia to collect signatures. He's collected over 200 signatures himself, door knocking in Southwest Virginia. I have my friend Paul who lives out, he's a huge supporter, lives out in Mechanicsville in Hanover, Virginia. Just had a heart condition, went in for surgery, had a stent added, and 2 days later, he's standing outside of a famous, popular gun outfit where you can buy firearms and sporting goods, standing out there collecting signatures to get my name on the ballot. That's what it takes.
That sounds like something Charlie would do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely something Charlie would do or we would do. Absolutely.
Yep.
And we're
Yep.
trying to as well. We presented this last night for you. We have some signatures for you as well. And I think tonight you are going to be at FCRC. Am I correct?
That is correct.
Great group of people. Great group of people. And I think you can motivate a lot of the folks that are there as well. I really do.
Well, I'm telling you, I've never been more encouraged. It's a miracle that in 2.5 weeks, we have almost 5,000 signatures. It takes a full 6 months to get the 10,000 signatures. Just to put this in perspective, you have candidates who are currently running for governor and lieutenant governor, specifically lieutenant governor, who've been collecting since January, who still don't have their signatures.
Right.
It's a big lift, and we've already got the grassroots, and I have no paid staff, not one. Nobody is paid on my staff. I'm not focused on fundraising right now. I'm focused on collecting signatures. And I've been going to Walmart parking lots, Cracker Barrels, Chick-fil-A's, you name it. People down for their signature. Do you want freedom in Virginia? Do you want a choice this coming June on your ballot? So we need people. If you want a choice, Winsome Sears is not going to be able to beat Abigail Spanberger. She didn't have the Trump supporters. She spoke out against President Trump, and she's lost all the Trump supporters. So we're basically facing 4 years of Governor Northam all over again, a rerun like we're going to have with Abigail Spanberger. So if that doesn't motivate you to get outside and go collect signatures at your local Costco, and collect signatures from your neighbors, your friends, at your church, we need pastors to understand how important this is. A lot of pastors don't want to deal with politics, and I say shame on you. Look at the great. If we don't have pastors willing to get involved in the political world, no matter how toxic it tends to be, if we don't have pastors willing to fight, then we're not going to be able to have an environment here in our United States of America, in our Virginia. I mean, look at the Black Robe regiments. I mean, look at history. We
work with the Black Robe Regiment
that led the charge.
Absolutely. Throw off the robe and let's go, guys. That's Bill Cook. We've been pretty close with Bill Cook.
Yes, and
we have to re-engage with Bill. And I think a lot of us can get out there and help you with this. I talked to you about 2.5 weeks ago, Amanda, and I very impressive because you were just starting out. And you were like, okay, we need some help. And I said, all right, I think we might be able to help you with this. And you're already up to 5,000.
We need 400 signatures in every congressional district, and we have about half that in each. So it's, we are so thankful for people who are collecting signatures of their families. They're like, where can I go to sign? Go to my website, print off front and back, go to chaseforgovernor.com, print it off. The biggest mistake people make is they print it off on 2 sheets. It goes on one sheet, front and back.
Front and back.
Can't sign your own petition, but you can get everybody else in your household to sign your petition. And then go to your local bank. Everybody goes to the bank. You've got one that you bank with. They'll do it free of charge. And then FedEx it to the address on my website, chaseforgovernor.com. Do your part. Don't be lazy. And by the
way, you're not talking to lazy people. I'm going to tell you that now. I mean,
exactly. They say 20% of the people do all the work, and that's the same of whether you're in a church, whether you're in a.
It's less nowadays, Amanda.
Yeah.
I think it's the 90-10 rule. What do you think, Charlie?
Yeah, we're doing.
Oh yeah, that's right on. I think Dana, you want to close it out with the last question?
Yeah. First off, Amanda, I really thank you. We are Mountain Patriots is extremely serious about taking America back. But like we said, we're grassroots. Our job is our county first and our state. So we will do everything in our county. So I want to thank you for your thoughts, all your intentions that you've got going. I'm very, very impressed with what I hear today. We will be able to help you out as well. And we're going to get this out to people as well. And I think, Charlie, what we'll be able to do is attach something with this. So if it goes out to anybody who's watching this, we can put a sheet with it, or I'll have Barbara add to it where they can go to find Amanda's website, because we're going to do it both. Charlie will tell you we don't do anything. We do things fast. My grandfather used to say, Dana, do things fast, not half fast. Okay. I live by that. Tell the truth. It's easier to remember. People never have enough time to do things right. Always have enough time to do things over. And treat people like you deserve it to be treated, and do things fast, not half-assed. Okay. So I think we're going to be able to help a lot. Charlie, is there anything that you want to add in? And I'm going to let Amanda have the last word here.
No, I think go for give us the your elevator speech of why you're the best one to vote for. What's what can you say that's different from all the other competitors that you might have to convince us and our people to vote for you?
Well, number one, I'm the only candidate that can beat Abigail Spanberger. This has been set up that this is the year of the female governor. While there are other people who have entered the race, this is the year of the female. I'm the only strong female that can go toe to toe with Abigail Spanberger and win. I have a senior Trump consultant who paired me up back in 2019 to challenge Abigail Spanberger, and that same consultant is running President Trump's operation right now. I've already been paired by the professionals to beat Abigail Spanberger. I know that I also served as a campaign manager for Congressman Dave Bratt, who went toe to toe with Abigail Spanberger. I know her weaknesses. I know her strengths. She used to be the representative in my area, the congresswoman. I know how to defeat Abigail Spanberger, and really nothing else matters. If you can't beat Abigail Spanberger, you shouldn't be in this race.
We're back to the northern age, which we don't need, where you make the baby comfortable and you lose all your rights and everything else. And the most important right is being able to be born. Okay, that's how I see it to begin with. Well, I want to thank Charlie. First off, I want to thank you for helping me out today. Charlie we're just brothers from another mother. I'll tell you that. The two of us have such a great time working together and building this coalition to try to get things out here. We will be able to share this with a lot of people that are around here. And Amanda, we want to thank you. God bless you. And we want to thank you for taking the time, the effort, and the energy to run a campaign, because we see how hard it is for what we do. We can only imagine what you go through. And I want to thank you very much. And we wish you the best. Godspeed, and we will see you tonight. How is that? We'll see you at FCRC, and we'll see how many signatures we can get in the next couple days. How's that work for you?
Well, listen, I look forward to seeing you all tonight. You know, and I always action item. My cell phone number is 804-370-8727. Call me directly. You want to collect signatures for me? I'll get you.
Would you repeat that? I think it broke up in the middle of it, of the phone number.
My personal cell phone number is 804-370-8727. And call me, text me. We are looking for volunteers to go to Martinsville for the NASCAR race this weekend. We've got about 44,000 people that are going to show up at the Speedway this weekend, and we need volunteers. We also have volunteers collecting signatures for us at the Hampton Gun Show this weekend. So we have lots of opportunities for volunteers, lots of opportunities to collect signatures, and we just need boots on the ground. Remember, we are 100% run by volunteers, 100%. There's no campaign managers, nothing. So, and secondly, if there's a GOP meeting in your area that you're aware of, go to it. Take my literature, show people my website, chaseforgovernor.com, speak on my behalf, tell folks why you're supporting me, why you're voting for me. It's very important that we have representation at all of these GOP meetings, and we're running a very unconventional campaign. Who runs a campaign without paid staff? I don't trust consultants. I think they make candidates more moderate leaning. They strip the candidate of their personality. They alter them. They make them more fearful, change them into someone they're not. So, I'm going to prove that we can win races with volunteers. And come tonight, we've got some free t-shirts that are left from my last campaign when I started in 2021. So for those folks who come out tonight, while supplies last, we'll get you suited up with a sweatshirt like the one I have on, or a t-shirt or a long sleeve shirt. Come tonight. It'll be worth your while. We'll have a good time.
Excellent. Thank you, Amanda. Well, I've got about 30 seconds left, and I just want to thank again, Charlie and Amanda. I want to thank you for doing all of this. And real quick plug for us again, we are the Mountain Patriots Educational Ministries. We do meetings every Monday night. We're involved in everything from the school board to the Board of Supervisors to the Small Business Freedom Alliance. And we will be doing a conference on June 28th, the Wake Up Winchester number 8. We've done 8 of these so far. Okay, and they've been very successful. There will be a gun raffle there. There'll be some fantastic speakers there. But that's June 28th from 11 to 7. It's $20. We're even going to feed you pizza because it's not a fundraiser. It is a fundraiser for our county. So that's June 28th, Wake Up Winchester Health and Freedom Conference. We hope to see you there. And make sure that you check out our videos on Wake Up Winchester. That is our wakeupwinchester.com is our website. You can find us on YouTube at Mountain Patriots, or you can find us on Rumble at Mountain_Patriots. All we ask you to do is make sure for our sake and for Amanda's sake that you share this video, that you like this video, because you know how the algorithms work. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe, and we hope to get you more content in the future. So with that being said, I want to wish you all a very, very blessed afternoon, and I look forward to seeing everybody soon. Amanda, thank you very much. Charlie is my co-pilot as always. I want to thank you again, and I will talk to you all very soon. Have a blessed day, everybody.
Thank you.